are back. Pink coconut on our beautiful set, as you can see, looking so lovely. Jayz Dinner Sets on the dinnerware. And we are ready for the table etiquette. Now, one of the best places to teach your children good manners and etiquette is at the dinner table. Our guest, Faith Nabaggala, is going to show us some very good etiquette. And pick a leaf. Teach your children.
Pick a tree.
Pick a
forest. Pick a forest.
Teach your children some very good etiquette. Faith, just give us a few pointers on good etiquette.
First of all, I think let me just become a teacher quickly and ask each one of us to mention that etiquette that we've always known, because I know we've all been raised certain. We all know things that we shouldn't do at the table. So can I just take up your role for 1 minute and ask Manuela to start then, was it? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think ours was aeroplane hands, like when you're eating.
Yes,
like,
aeroplane hands.
Your and then down. Also do not leave the table until everybody else has finished eating. And then to ask your neighbor to pass you the soup. Like you can't be the one looking for the bins. You're the one pulling them. You need to ask your neighbor to pass you what you would like to eat.
Mine is respect your friends, respect your brothers, respect everyone on the table. Do not eat while opening your mouth. Keep your mouth closed. We don't need to see your food.
We don't need to see your esophagus.
Etiquette, I was taught from a very young age to use a fork and a knife always. So for us, that has always been our measure. From the time, if I can use feed myself, I can use a fork and a knife. I've been using a fork and a knife for a very long time. And it helps in organizing the food and the plate. And you don't leave things. And then when you're finished eating, they taught us a way. Do I remember that way? They taught it to us.
You are going to refresh our course.
Mine was to wait for everybody to come to the table before you start eating. And I think that helped with teaching patience. You don't dig in before other people come. So when we come and we sit, say grace, and then
that's fantastic. That's very good, ladies. And I think the more I teach, the more I'll keep on bringing more rules, I should say, table rules. The most common one, of course, is no elbows at the table. This is especially while you're eating, during the meal. During a break, you might, because it gets into conversation. But especially just no elbows at the table. So whatever kids do over this, so what? You ain't had me doing that, all of that. So you're avoiding, you're avoiding your elbows. So just keep it to your wrists, to your wrists. Then you talk, yes, Manuela, you mentioned about passing things on. When you're passing salt to someone, normally, first of all, what I'm going to share, what I want to, thank you, a disclaimer, is I'm going to try to share both things you do out of the house and at home. So at home it's more informal. So what I'm saying, people might hear us speaking and say, my goodness, so you have to do all of that at home. No. Etiquette is about knowing when to apply it as well. What hat you wear when. You know that when you travel somewhere, you won't feel bad because you know how to carry yourself a certain way. You're supposed to carry yourself a certain way. Not necessarily it has to be your daily, you're all hoity-toity and everything. I use my hands to eat at times. And, so yes, it's your life. It's just knowing when to apply it. I need that disclaimer. Anyway, moving forward, before I mention this as well. So when somebody asks you for salt, and usually you notice the salt shaker and the pepper, sit together, you're meant to pass them on together. Yes. Meant to pass them on together. Again, if you're in those places, Then also the way food is served in courses at times, depending on where you're at. So our setting, we'll see, depending on where you're at. So you don't necessarily have to have all of this at home, but it's because it's for us to learn. So chewing your food, all those little things, keeping, where do you put your napkin? How tidy are you? Your plate.
Do we put here?
So that's why I think now we should get into class so that we move on step by step, unless you have another question to ask. But if not, just a table mat, yes, and just your basic dinner plate, okay? So you hear me saying dinner plate, your side plate, and your bowl. That's what it is. Okay. So right in front of you. Then your napkin. This is nice and pretty. That's good. Some people just use the paper serviettes, which is fine. Or you want to go fancy, you can have your napkin and you set it. Your napkin always goes on the left-hand side. Always, always. There's no restaurant where you find it on the right. It's always on the left. Always on the left or the center.
Right in front.
Remember, when you go for weddings, functions, you find, because it's just making things pretty. Even for your guests, if you're plating the food, you just find that maybe because the food is being plated. Or a buffet setting, the plates are not here.
Plated
that
means the food is coming from the kitchen when it already has, it's on the plate.
So when you have dinner at Serene, that's what they'll do for you. Something I'd like to say is, you should give your family and your children as much exposure as possible. Take them for a high-end dinner if you can. Plan for it. You can't even do it once in a year. For them to experience
I love
like,
this.
because I know Serena does that a lot. And I know, major hotels or something where you really have a dinner served the way it's supposed to be served, with all the courses, the waiters come in with your food, plated nice and
those ones of they order chips and what because they've reached a high-end restaurant.
Just to experience it. So, okay, moving forward, you place your napkin on the left-hand side. We're going to start with a basic setting. That's just your fork, your dinner fork, and your dinner knife. Something to maybe I should show you as well. So your dinner fork, today we have fancy things. You can do a mix and match.
Yeah.
I guess. Silver and bronze. Is this bronze or copper?
Rose gold.
Rose gold. This is rose gold, Vanagi. Yeah. Okay. So what you'll notice at times, if you buy yourselves a good dinner set, which is an investment, I believe, for a home, for any woman, you get a certain age and you want your home to have certain things. You go buy good dinner sets. Homemakers. Yes, homemakers. You buy a nice dinner set that has all these things, So you'll notice that you'll have a dinner knife, and then you'll notice that your salad knife is slightly smaller. If a set has all of these, your dinner knife and your
salad knife
are slightly different in size. Something for you to note. Okay. Moving forward, informal setting. Sorry, which is your basic. Your knife always goes on the right hand side, and your fork on the left. Okay.
The cutting
edge. Yes, you should ask. Yes, definitely. Your cutting edge always faces in.
Facing in.
It faces in.
I love it.
And I know you've seen some settings where people don't really care. One knife is here, the fork is here, then the knife is up here, the fork is down here. You make it neat. You're a lady and you're teaching your children, I guess, to also be tidy and neat. So you set it there. I won't get into all the complications of measuring, but we also measure. I won't get into that. Wow. Yes, you do, but then it's not necessary. But just use your eye, basically. You make it nice, you make it neat. That is your basic setup. You're going to have one meal. This is your dinner. So it will just be your dinner plate. You won't have the balls. That's it. You're ready to eat. Just like that.
This looks already.
Okay.
Just like this.
Fine. In case I forget, let me just mention this. As soon as you sit, you found a table setting, at a dining table, your napkin is the first thing that you take off. But always you take it off and your napkin goes to your lap. It never goes up.
And children?
Yeah. Children as well. Now the reason why I teach children to still have their napkin here is you want them to start being careful. If you leave them to always have their napkin here, because they are children, they will not pay that much attention to how tidy they are eating, how neatly they are eating.
So when we see big men putting...
Now, the only time you can have a napkin here is if you're eating like crabs or something that splashes, any food that splashes. So when you go to those hotels,
and they will give them to you.
They will give them to you. You'll have a larger napkin as well, and you'll put it up here because your food splashes. Because it's that kind
so it
of
has
food.
nothing to do with gender. Me, I used to hear that men put here and the ladies put here. Lol. We are unlearning.
That's why I'm here. Okay. Because somebody's eating, they have to keep their white shirts, but they should be able to sit well.
Yes.
So if you're not sitting well, that's also another problem. You have to sit upright at a table. Do not slouch, do not do what. So, and the way you hold your food as well matters. It wouldn't spill on you. The way you put it on your fork and knife matters as well. So you need to eat carefully and be gentlemanly enough to know that your food won't spill on you. Okay. So we move forward now. This is our informal setting. Now let's get into the formal where we're going to use all these little things that we have. As I said earlier, whatever you have here speaks of what the chef is going to bring. Now, you have your bowl. Okay. Normally, of course, your bowl will go with a soup spoon. Normally, you know that there's going to be soup served. Okay, fine. It's very okay. Soup, noodles, things like that are the ones that are served in a bowl. But then, if you have noodles or something, of course, they'll give you chopsticks. Yes. So now I think and you know maybe the menu by then, so you'll know that. Oh, I think we're going to have soup. as part of a, because there's also a side plate which can be your bread plate at this point in time. Now, let's move forward. So we have a soup bowl. Your soup will go with bread normally. So your bread plate is placed in front of your dinner fork. Oh, it's always on the side of the fork, the forks basically. That's on your left-hand side. Okay? Put your glasses in front of you. We shall set the glasses as well. So I'm just putting that there.
I have to pin this video somewhere so that refresher course before.
So if you have your bread plate, you will have a bread knife. And a bread knife is significantly tinier than a normal knife, a normal dinner or salad. It's significantly tinier. You'll find the setup when they've either put the bread knife there or there, either way, okay? So that's where they place them, all right? And your bread, I know some of us call it a bun, you know, it's called a roll.
You're shaking tables,
It's called a bread roll. So you have your bread roll, you put it on your plate. And normally when you're serving, you don't serve yourself first. If the bread roll is right in front of me, I'd want to send it, give it to passes it on. It's just polite to do that.
Etiquette.
Yes, if you mind others first, so you pass on something. And before I forget, if Rosette asks for, let's say, the butter, I shouldn't get the butter first.
Let me first.
Let me give her what she asked first. You see people where you ask for salt,
you use the salt
first. If I do it first, they give it to you.
Wow.
No, I'll have to get
even if you plan to use it.
Yes, even if you plan to use it, I'm telling you. So little things like that. You consider others always. So soup spoons come in different ways. You may not have this one, but I have to show you. There are some that are also narrower, like your basic tablespoon, a bit narrower. There's a reason why. Because if I'm going to just have, should I say, a light soup at times, a soup or a thick soup that doesn't have any
cream,
or at times there's mushrooms in there, pieces of bread or something, you will use this type of spoon or the one that's a bit narrower, so that you put it in your mouth and you chew, because there's something to chew. But it's just a light soup that hasn't got anything in it, just a soup, a basic soup. They'll give you this round spoon. It's very difficult for you to get. This is a very small one. Usually they are bigger than this. So it's very awkward for you to to open your mouth wide. So you're meant to take your soup with this spoon on the side. The side of the spoon. With this particular type of shape of spoon. The round. Am I making sense? The round spoon you always take on the side. With the one that's a bit pointed on your table, you can do it like take it like that. Or at times you're still given a spoon like this, but without the particles, you can also still take on the side. But
as long as
if you're chewing something, exactly. If you're chewing something,
do on the side.
That's the difference between the spoons. Okay.
Ooh,
so you place your spoon, depending on the menu. So right now we are setting a soup is going to be a first course. So it will be before the dinner, the main course. So you place your soup spoon. It always goes on the side of the knife, on the right hand side. Okay, are we there?
Yes.
Good. So you move faster.
Class.
You're in class.
Yes.
So right now we have soup as a first course. We have then the main course. Okay. Ideally, there could be salad, there could be fish, there could be all sorts of things going on. You've seen those settings where they're like
so many
6 sets. And the reason why people say, how will you finish all of that? They're usually very tiny portions. Very tiny portions. And if the host is done eating, they come and take away. So if you're still eating,
when the host
they'll come and clear. They start clearing because they need to bring in the next course.
You better not
if you're late, in case you're late, and you find them on the third course, you can't come back and say, oh, please get me the first course, second course. No, you need to start at where everybody else is. Again, respect, because you're disturbing the people in the kitchen. You're requesting for, yet everybody else already had that meal.
Wow.
Okay, so moving forward. Thank you. Keep time as well. Yes, keep time. Okay, we move forward. So we have a soup, we have our main course, and then let's talk about dessert. First of all, the soup goes with the bread. That's why you have your bread plate as well and bread knife. I wanted to show this to you. This is, I know some of you, you've seen these. This is your butter knife. So it's meant to, usually if butter is cut up in little wedges or something, squares, you scoop the butter, put it back. Don't put it on your plate, put it back because everybody else wants to use the butter. All right, so let's get into a dessert. Dessert, always have your mini forks. Let me see our forks. Okay. They're always tiny, very tiny. Yeah. They're very tiny. And they're always placed at the top. Okay? Always.
Like that.
So you never, it faces, it
right.
comes, it's supposed to come to the side of the forks later when we are what? You might find both the fork and the spoon. At times the spoon's actually bigger. This is quite tiny. This is quite tiny. It should be a bit bigger. So like at times a basic tablespoon or slightly smaller than the basic tablespoon. So you place your fork below the spoon.
Okay.
Your fork.
Nice.
Have you done that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when you're being served by, again, high-end restaurants, they will come and place everything first. Over time, they remove the cutlery. Whatever course is done, they remove the cutlery. They might bring the cutlery, or they will change it for you. They remove the cutlery. Yeah. If everything is done, we finish having our main meal, he will come, he'll put the fork there, he'll put the spoon there for you, ready for your next course, for the dessert, okay? So that's how it is. And that's
it.
this is now, of course, just, yes, but you can tell how many courses we have. We have 3 courses right here.
Yeah.
Again, you can find more cutlery, more, depending on what the chef has served. Any questions, ladies? I haven't gone deep into how you use what. Oh yes, the glasses. Very good, Publa. Thank you. So let's do our glasses. I saw them, they were confused. So let's do our glasses.
We care more about the glasses.
Oh my goodness, I'm glad you mentioned that. So there are some drinks we can't have with dinner.
Oh.
And that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
And I know you also see that where you can have beer, and then you have your fish, and I don't know what your main course. No. Some drinks you can't have with dinner. It's also unhealthy, I think, because having, I think, the beer and then you have no. That's why they never set it for the table. It's afterwards, or lighter meals, I should say, little bites or something. Right now we just have a champagne flute.
Yeah.
Champagne flutes are normally longer, so you'll notice that. Yeah. Champagne flutes are longer, so this is a unique shape we have from Jayz.
Yeah.
And then this is just your normal, I should say, your all-purpose sort of glass. Yeah. It does juice, it does soda. But we all know the wine glasses, the wine goblets. Some are bigger, some are smaller. Maybe one time we'll come back and we'll go into all of that. Okay. But your glasses all go to the right-hand side, above your cutlery. Okay, above your knife specifically. And again, depending on what you're going to drink first. So if it's with our meal, right now we are being nice and safe, we'll have juice. Okay, that's why we have our juice glasses. That will come in front of the champagne glass or the wine glass. Oh. All right, so there are different types of settings where at times they come that way, at times it comes behind it. But it also shows you how drinks are going to be served.
Interesting.
Okay, you've seen settings where there's 2 wine glasses. One is bigger, one is smaller. So always the red wine has a bigger, bowl, I should say, and white wine is smaller. So in case I'm going to have steak and Rosette is going to have fish, steak, red meats go with red wine. Yeah. Okay, and then white meat go with white wine. Wow. So that organized waiter in those high-end places will basically come and automatically remove my white wine glass. Leave my red wine glass because I'm going to have red wine with my steak.
No shouting, hey, Sebo, my glass.
No, unless it's your preference, unless you already asked for your wine and you've actually asked for white wine, which is okay. He'll still remove the red wine glass, the one you don't need basically. He will do that. These people should be very respectful. He will do what you've asked for. Okay? He'll do what you've asked for because these are you're the client anyway.
So I have a question about salt and pepper. I remember hearing from certain circles that one goes after the other. Okay, so you talked about when I ask for salt, you send me both, the salt and pepper shaker.
Yes.
But is there an order to which I serve salt and pepper?
An order?
Yeah, like first salt, then pepper, or first pepper, then salt.
Serving it?
Putting it on my...
No, I think it's according to your need.
Ah, okay.
Do you need more pepper? Then maybe you put the pepper. It's not a must that you have to add pepper to it. No,
they were misinforming me, obviously.
No, really. And then maybe at times people have a hard time figuring out which one is salt, which one is pepper. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So you be there like,
then you realize you're putting So basically, because it's just a small health theory, salt needs to come out less because it's less. It's because It's unhealthy. So that's why it will have one hole or less or a few holes according to a few, you know. Yeah, and then the pepper has more holes, as simple as that. So unless a person who put it in, Zano didn't know. That also happens.
Yes.
But normally it should be that way.
Yeah, there's
because there's that as well. You would know, but then the person doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a question. So, you know, this is fancy at the restaurant and all of that stuff, and, you know, there's somebody picking up after us. But what if I'm feeling fancy at home and there's no one to pick up after us? Like soup bowl, then
You're the hostess.
And I'm the hostess of my own here, but we are eating at home. Or I have guests and they've come over, and we don't have those chef's work and waiters coming. How do we manage? I've taken, but he drank my soup. I've taken my soup. Like, I'm done with my soup. Now I stand up, I take to the kitchen like this. So I'm learning. That's why I'm learning.
Okay, we don't raise anything off the table.
Oh, so as you see.
That is true, yes. We do not raise anything off the table. You never raise anything. What you have to, if you need to raise, the best you can do with raising is you lift and tilt.
Ooh.
So when that Alaska soup.
Exactly. So your kids do not do this. They shouldn't. No. We don't lift anything off the table. But you were asking a very good question. Of course, this depends. That's why you don't overpressure yourself, because you have to think about all the logistics of doing this at home. Unless you're the hostess, which means it will be you to clear, plate, do the plating, do everything. I always think of convenience.
I wanted to just add on to
Yes.
that. Since we are teaching kids, you could delegate.
Thank you.
One person today, you're the one in
You're the one who's clearing.
Because first you can be the hostess, do
Perfect.
it. Then the next time, one of them can do
So
it.
you delegate the roles. If not, train your person at home if you have a maid. Let her come and clear for you, because you're also doing this other side of things. But do not make yourself superwoman and say that you'll clear. No, it's a bit impossible, especially if you're doing courses. You'll need to ask your kids to help you out. Just have a good time. Or hire somebody. Hire somebody for the day.
Everybody take your place.
Thank you.
I know. Serve yourself. Go to the kitchen, serve yourself. When you are done, take your own plate back.
Come back. My goodness, that's a headache. But yes, depending on how you've set up.
Thank you.
Depending on how you've set up, you're very welcome.
This was really amazing. Don't you
You're
guys
welcome,
feel fancy
ladies.
already?
There'll be food in this place.
Exactly.
Actually, me now, even now, I have to find. I was going to eat home food.
Thank you for sharing. I really love this. We already feel fancy. Do share with us what you're doing in your homes. Are you teaching them take etiquette? If you're not, pick a leaf, teach your children. I think we've all learned something today, and we are just about to put it in practice. Until next time, with love from Bampla.